Welcome to Murder and Everything Else. My name is Joy.
And my name is Cheryl. And Joy and I are two very old friends. We're going to talk about murder and everything else.
So, Cheryl, remember last week you asked me
No.
about my New Year's resolution and I told you it was a giant fail?
Yes.
Okay, well, I just have to tell you about what has been not a giant fail. And while it wasn't a resolution, it's something new that I have been ramping up over the last year, and it's my Korean skincare routine. And you're going to love
Mm.
this because you used to have, and we're talking about 25 years ago when we were super young, you used to have this 45-minute bedtime routine where you go in the bathroom and you sing songs to yourself and make love to the mirror. And I'd just be like, what the actual F are you doing in there for so long? And you'd be like flossing and talking and like rubbing creams everywhere. And I'd just be like, good Lord.
Yeah,
But
but look at the results.
I know, right? But now, literally, I have like serums, eye creams, moisturizer, sunscreen. I even have lip sunscreen that I put on. It lasts for 8 hours. I put it on and I have like a whole routine. And you know what's funny? I actually enjoy this process.
Oh, interesting. Okay. You
Yeah.
know what you should do is you should start videoing yourself and put on YouTube Shorts because that's what
Ooh.
I see people doing.
And you want to know the second part of that is I sometimes wake up in the morning and I will have, I've talked about this before, I will have purchased things during the night. And this morning I woke up and I had purchased an eye cream and a serum during the night.
That you don't
So
remember?
I don't. So I'm some kind of like somnambulist, like, consumer. I'm like a
Wow.
sleepwalking shopper.
I've never heard that word before.
Right? A
I
somnambulist.
always learned sonambulist. What's the definition of that? Somebody who orders
Somnambulist.
Korean skincare in the middle of the night
That's right.
with
Oh
your
my
picture
God.
next to the description.
And
What?
and I had to have been fairly cognizant because I ordered two skincare items at like 12:30 a.m. and I remembered to go through Rakuten so I could get my Rakuten points and I also used a coupon code. So while I'm sleep shopping, I'm also saving myself some money.
Oh God, that's incredible. But you know what? And at least you weren't harmed or injured in the process because I just heard a story. Do you know the comedian Mike Birbiglia?
Oh, I just listened to that episode. He has a whole he did the Moth Radio Hour or This American Life or something like
No,
that where he literally tells that story about him jumping out the
through the
second
window,
story. Yeah, and the
and he
glass
was
breaking
bleeding,
and he's in
and
his
he went.
underwear. Oh yeah. You need to
Yeah,
go and look for it. It is
yeah.
fascinating.
Yeah, you guys need to look it up because first of all, he's a great comedian. He was
And
like,
uh,
I didn't want to have kids at first. I wanted to see if anything great was going to happen in my life before it started happening.
it's great. It's a
But
fairly crazy situation.
it's a very crazy, you guys. He sleepwalked, whatever. But he was having a dream that he was going to be attacked by something, and yeah, you got to listen to it. It's so funny. I mean, funny and scary. But his name's Mike Birbiglia, so shout out,
Yeah,
Mike.
he's great. And by the way, uh sleepwalking, the dictionary definition of somnambulist is sleepwalking. It's a noun.
Is
It's a sleepwalker.
a Korean lady named Joy who orders
Mhm.
skincare care products in the middle of the night. Okay.
That's right. It's a person who suffers from somnambulism is a condition in which a person walks around while they're sleeping. And there's got to
okay.
be a condition where people shop when they're sleeping. You're right. Anyway, so that's what's going on in my world. And on that note, we need to head into disclaimers. A quick reminder that this podcast is not for kids. Today, we're headed away from murder, but that means that sometimes it gets a little bit spicier. So, anyway, some of you will also have noticed that on the sound quality of our last video, which was,
Suck.
I'm sorry, last episode, was the murder of Laura Ackerson, and the sound was not very good. Just a gentle reminder to all of our listeners out there that while we have some new state-of-the-art equipment that I've been really talking up, the operators are not always on their A game. So bear with us, folks. We're still working out the kinks. And if the sound quality is poor, I like to just blame it on Cheryl.
Yeah, apologies to all. I know we were really hyping up how great our equipment was going to be in 2024, and the equipment is great. It's just that the operators are not that great. No, honestly, I don't know what happened last week, but I do apologize.
I know. I don't know what happened either, but it was crazy.
Sorry. Yeah.
Anywho, Cheryl, do you have any disclaimers?
No, just that, yeah, just be patient with us. We realized it sucked, but the content was very good, and that's why we chose to keep it, because it was comedy gold, and sometimes you can't capture lightning in a bottle again.
That's right. Well, rolling into updates, guys, on Thursday, the 18th of January, I got a Spotify anniversary message that our first episode was published on January 18th, 2023. So we have officially celebrated our first anniversary. So happy anniversary, Cheryl.
Happy
Also,
anniversary. Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary.
yep.
Yeah.
Also, the universe heard us and delivered. Remember how I said that we needed 1,000 listens in 30 days to get ads back?
Yeah.
Well, guess what? We are inching closer to our goal, and now we're only 825 listens away. We have gone up. Yeah, it's
We only have
exciting.
2 weeks left of January. Okay.
It's super exciting. And also, we are inching super close to having almost 2,000 listens of all time, which is super exciting.
Wow. That is super exciting. Of course, 1,000 of them are from us, but still,
Right.
nonetheless.
So thank you to our subscribed listeners and our unsubscribed listeners, and all the people who are putting in the time to listen to us talk about all this great content. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Cheryl, do you have any updates for us?
Well, I think that you can tell, I hope, that I sound a little more normal now. Finally, after 6 weeks or whatever the hell it's been, I think I'm finally rid of this dang virus cough, whatever. I'm still coughing once in a while, but I finally feel back to normal
Yay!
as I cough.
Well, guys, nobody appreciates Cheryl being well more than me. And on that note, I need to go to our shout outs, and I am sending a shout out to thrift stores. Guys, I went to the thrift store and I found a pair of leggings, black, just plain black leggings. And for those of you who know me, it is hard for me to find black leggings that fit me, or any leggings, because one, my waist is larger than my hips. So I'm definitely an apple. You know, they say that women come in different shapes and sizes that are related to pears. I used to think I was an orange, but it's actually an apple. You know, an orange is just round with like little like pencils sticking off the legs and arms, but I'm not. I'm an apple, which means you're broader on top, and then you taper down, and then your hips are this smaller than your waist and your bust, and then you taper down. Whereas like a lot of women are pears, which means they're like curvy on the top, smaller in the middle, curvy on the bottom. That's the pear.
No,
But
well, I'm a pear, but it's because the top is small and the bottom is big.
well, I'm an or apple. I'm an orange that then blossoms into an apple. But these leggings. So when I buy leggings, what ends up happening is, and it doesn't matter if they're like normal like regular the skinny leggings from before, or if they're the high-waisted leggings or the low-waisted leggings or the hipster leggings, every time I sit down, guess what happens? Bloop, they roll off. So these leggings are so nice because they don't roll off. I don't
Oh,
have to spend the whole time I'm wearing them hanging on to them with one finger so that they don't end up around my ankles. So I just want to shout out
awesome.
the thrift store for having these. And when I bought them, they were brand new. So
Oh, no, I
win-win.
know.
I don't have to
I
wear something with someone else's famunda on it.
and I know a lot of people that go to thrift stores because they find like treasures in there, brand new stuff, like designer stuff. Other than you, yes,
Cheryl,
I know you do. Other
Cheryl,
people do too.
I was gonna say, am I the only person goes to thrift
Yeah,
stores?
yeah, no, and it's you. No, there
I
are other
know a
people I
lot of
know.
people. You have to change it to I know a person who goes and buys a lot of stuff at a thrift store.
No, I know
Anyway,
you
do
can
you
get
have
some
any
bargains
shout
there.
out, Cheryl?
Well, mine is just to Amazon and their return policy. They make it so easy. Like I'm going to a wedding at the end of February, and I hate going shopping. I hate, first of all, the mirrors and the lighting in the dressing rooms are awful.
Mm, I love
David Spade,
shopping.
I know you do, but I
Oh,
don't. And it's great because
Cheryl.
I don't feel bad about ordering several dresses because I know I can return them so easily. I just love their returns. They are awesome in that regard.
I love weddings. I wish I was being invited to a
You want to
wedding
go?
soon. Yeah, can I go with you? I love weddings.
You're gonna have to sneak in because it's an old coworker and she invited four of us, and it was there was no plus one on the invitation. She made it very
Okay.
clear she was only asking the four of us to come.
For
So I'm
those of
sorry.
you listening to this, please, please get married and invite me. And if you're already married, get married again.
Oh
I
my
love weddings. I just love like the whole thing, but like I love the party, I love the dress, I love the shoes, I love the purse. I just love like
God, don't
when
you love the
people say I
purse?
love you. I love the little kids coming down the aisle, dropping the rings and the rose petals. I love when the bride comes in and everyone stands up. I love seeing what the bridesmaids are going to wear. I just love the whole thing.
Yeah, I know. It is very sweet. So it's
It
going to
is.
be a girl trip. Yay.
Yay. Hey, so that takes us to letters from our listeners. And our letter this week comes from Vinka, who posted on our Instagram post about our catfishing episode. If you guys didn't see our new little fancy videos, um, we posted one about the catfishing episode. And Vinka said, I'd pay good money to see you go fishing. So I thought that was very funny. And hey, Vinka, just so you
Hilarious.
know, I have gone fishing before. I did not enjoy it that much because you have to be very quiet and just stand in one place. That to me is a huge, huge nightmare.
That
Not
is
the
torture for you. It would
not
be
the
like
standing,
waterboarding.
yeah, not standing in the one place, but the being quiet part. That was a real nightmare.
Oh, no, and standing in one place.
So anyhow, thank you to letters from our listeners. By the way, you know what's really cool is we're back to me picking which letter from our listener I get to read because we have
More than one?
plenty. Yep, that's right.
Yay!
That's right.
That's awesome.
Anyways, guys, we are headed in a different direction this week. We are steering
Yay.
away from murder. And
Ah,
because
boo. No.
Cheryl was sick during the holidays, And because I was sick and I had sick family during the holidays, we spent a lot of time doing what Americans do best when there's a good chunk of time off and you can't really leave the house, and that is watching shows. And
Yeah.
so Cheryl's going to go into some shows that were great, that were meh, that were stinkers, and so am I. And I'm going to share with you what we were watching so that you can add all these amazing shows to your list of great shit I need to watch now
Or not.
or
Um,
not.
yeah, so fun. Well, so I'm going to start off that with movies and a TV show that I was less than thrilled with. And I was starting to wonder if I was ever going to come across something that I liked again, because it was like back to back disappointment. The first thing was Squid Game, The Challenge on Netflix. So Joy and I love Squid Game, the TV show, the Korean TV show. I've watched it 3 times all the way through the entire season, and I can't wait for the second season. But Squid Game: The Challenge is a 10-episode British reality competition television series based on Squid Game, the South Korean drama. The show features 456 players, the largest cast in reality TV history, competing for 4,560,000 4.56 million
Hmm.
$4.56 million. Edit that part. The largest single cash prize in reality television history. And let me tell you, folks, it sucked. I watched the first 10 minutes and I was like, How long did you last, Joy? Because I
Wow.
know you gave it a try. I know you gave it a try,
I
didn't you?
I don't even think I lasted 10 minutes.
Oh my God, so awful. Pass, you guys. If you love Squid, and someone, I I like to read reviews. I like to see what other people are saying. And someone said, "I'm so sorry that I tried watching this because it tainted the Korean show for that person." I was like, "Yep, I'm gonna stop right now and like shake it off and forget about this because it was terrible." Okay, the other stinker. Well, I'm not gonna say it was a stinker. Um, I can't highly recommend it, but like Kevin wanted to. Oh, he was kind of interested, and I said, I don't highly recommend it. To me, it's like a The Talented Mr. Ripley, starring Matt Damon and Jude Law, and I think Gwyneth Paltrow from way back. I don't know what year, but that movie was done really well, and I feel like this one wants to be that, but it falls short. But Saltburn is a 2023 black comedy psychological thriller. It was written and directed and co-produced by Emerald Fennell, starring Barry Keoghan and a bunch of people I don't know, but Rosamund Pike, who was excellent. Um, and it is set in Oxford and Northamptonshire. Sorry, you pronounce it. England, and it focuses on a student at Oxford who becomes fixated with a popular aristocratic fellow student at his university, who later invites him to spend the summer at his eccentric family's estate. So disappointed because it got to the end. It was like, this has been done before and it's been done better. So I would pass on that.
Oh
But
man,
it's
and
not,
that's actually in my list because it checks all the like period piece boxes for me. So I guess I'm gonna have to maybe put it at the
no,
bottom
watch
of
it.
the list.
Well, watch it and tell us what you think. It's not horrible, you guys. It's not, to me, it's not like Squid Game, the challenge.
Well,
It's
it just
decent.
wasn't. It just wasn't
It
like all the hype was like for nothing.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I
The
don't
other
know if you saw Barry Keoghan in The
the
Banshees
it
of
of Inna
Inisherin.
Sharon. You guys have to
Oh,
see.
he was amazing in that film. And you know he's
Oh,
31 years old and he played like a teenager. He
and
played
it
like a
was believable.
16-year-old. Yeah, it was totally believable. He
Oh,
was so good in that movie.
he's that type of actor when you're watching something where you are looking forward to them being back on the screen. You know what I mean? He was so
Mhm.
good. I wanted to. I started as soon as I finished watching it. I started it again. When I love a movie, I do that. I did that with Barbarian, but I didn't have time to watch it all the way through. But I literally only wanted to watch it again for his performance. So yes, he's very good in this, and Rosamund Pike is excellent. Um, the acting is fine. It's just with as many black comedy like thriller murder mysteries that I watch, I'd like to say I'm kind of uh, an expert. And I've seen a lot of movies like this, and it fell short for me. I'm giving myself an honorary doctorate in uh, in thriller movies. Okay, so the next one is May December, and this is a
Oh,
2023 American drama. It was directed by Todd Haynes from a screenplay by Sammy Birch and based on a story by Birch and Alex Mechanic, Mechanic, loosely inspired by the Mary Kay Letourneau scandal. If y'all remember that, it stars
yep.
Natalie Portman as an actress who travels to meet and study the life of the controversial woman, Mary Kay Letourneau, played by Julianne Moore. She Natalie Portman is set to play Julianne Moore in a film, and uh, Mary Kay Letourneau was infamous for a 23-year long relationship with her husband, which began when he was only 12 and she was his teacher. The husband is played by Charles Milton, who is a hottie McToddy. Um, Julianne Moore to me was perfect as Mary Kay Letourneau, but the movie, 10 minutes into it, and I was texting Joy going, oh my God, the music is going to kill me. It was like dun 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 in the middle of a scene. Seriously, you guys, it's like, I don't need you to make me feel how the scene is supposed to make me feel. Just let me feel it by the acting and the dialogue.
Yeah, the
And it was
music was really, really like disconcerting.
off-putting.
It was over the top,
Mm-hmm.
and it I felt like they wanted to set a feel of what was
Mm-hmm.
happening, but a lot of the movie was very slow moving and dialogue
Uh,
heavy. So it didn't really match what was happening. I get what they were trying to
yeah.
do. It was a very stylized type of movie, but it was off-putting.
Yeah. Did you see Oppenheimer?
No, not
Okay,
yet.
we start.
So don't tell me about it because I want to see it.
Can I tell you what I thought of it? No.
Oh yeah, you can tell me what you thought of it, but don't give any spoilers like,
Oh,
"Oh,
no,
and the
no.
dog dies at the end."
Okay, well, we all know what the story, but okay, let
I
me just
don't.
say this. Okay, let me just say this. We rented it and I walked away after about 20 minutes. I was like, I can't
Wait,
take this.
did you go to Blockbuster to rent it?
Yeah. No, I did the DVD from Netflix. Um, no, we rented it at home and I told
You
him, I was like,
wait.
I can't.
Wait. You rent the
I
DVDs
know.
from Netflix now? What's
Oh,
happening right now?
I'm joking. No, we paid for it though, which is totally against my my
Religion.
morals and my
Wait,
standards.
so you walked away after 20 minutes?
Hmm.
What was
Well,
it
I got
because
up,
you were bored
walked.
or was it because
Yeah.
you were scheduled for like an afternoon walk and you needed to get that in? What's up?
No, it reminded me of May December in that every scene they had music playing over it. And
Oh.
I was like, can you please just let me hear the dialogue between? And it was awful. So I want to know what you think of it. Okay. The next movie that was a complete disappointment was Leave the World Behind. It's a 2023 American apocalyptic psychological thriller. And by the way, I love apocalyptic movies. I just can't say it. It was a film written and directed by Sam Ismail. It is based on the 2020 novel by Ruman Alam. I know I'm butchering these names. My
I love
apologies.
I love when you pronounce stuff in other languages because you go like this. Ruman, alam, rumin, alam. Rumen, Rumen. And you'll say it like 18 times. And I'm like,
Because
it's not
times,
getting better. It's getting
no,
worse.
but one of the times might be right. And then Ruman will be happy. The film stars Julia Roberts, Mahershala Ali, I love saying that name, Ethan Hawke, and Kevin Bacon as they attempt to make sense of the sequential rapid breakdown in phones, television, and other regularly used technology, which points to a potential cataclysm. It sounds so great. It was
I
so
didn't.
freaking boring. It was so boring. I was so disappointed, but I kept watching. See, like with Oppenheimer and some movies, I'll just stop after a while. But I was like, I need to see where this goes and waste another hour of my life. But it just went nowhere. It just was like
Huh.
so awful. It reminded me of a play, and sometimes plays can be very boring. So I do not
Huh.
recommend that. Did you say Gabe watched it?
He did. And I have to tell you that he said something about the ending, but I can't remember what, but he was like, blah. Like, it
Hmm.
wasn't blah all the way through. With the cast, you would have expected a lot more, but he said he felt like the movie fell short of delivering the message that they started out trying to
Yeah.
deliver. So it's like
Hmm.
you're cruising along and you got all these amazing actors, and then it's like, Erks, and you fall off the cliff like Thelma and Louise. Oh, spoiler alert.
Exactly.
Thelma and Louise fall off the cliff.
Some people believe they survive and that they're going to have a Thelma and Louise 2 50 years later. Anyway,
Oh my
yeah,
god.
totally boring. Okay, my last one was Good Grief, and it's a 2023 American comedy drama film written and directed by Dan Levy, who I love from Schitt's Creek, in his directorial film debut and starring himself and a bunch of people that you would not know except maybe Luke Evans. The film follows a man mourning the loss of his husband as his two best friends help him on his journey of grief and acceptance. And I was very sad that I did not love this movie because I was rooting for Dan Levy because I love him,
I
but
love
I didn't
Dan.
like.
It's is it Levy or Levy?
I don't
Maybe it's
know.
Levy. I think it's Eugene Levy, so it's Levy.
Okay, Dan Levy.
I love
Um,
Dan Levy.
I know, and I wanted so badly to love it, but it's so
And
monotone, the whole
I
thing.
haven't seen him in anything since Schitt's Creek.
I know. No, he was in that Christmas movie with Kristen
I haven't
Kristen
seen
from the
it.
Twilight movie. You have to watch it, Joy.
Oh,
It's very
Kristen
funny.
Stewart.
Yeah. And she plays a lesbian, and then she goes home to the family and they don't know that she's the girlfriend. They think she's the girl is bringing her roommate, and actually I don't really like her, but she was good in it and it's funny.
Huh.
You have to watch it. And Dan
Ooh.
Levy is in it, and he plays, his usual flamboyant comedic self, and it's great. It's not
Huh.
that I didn't want to see him in a drama, but the whole film was on one level. But watch it because I want your opinion.
Okay.
And that
I will.
I just gave you a bunch of movies that fell short for me. But hey, if you guys watched it and you have a different opinion, please let us know and tell us why you liked it. What you
Okay.
got, Joy?
Well, I am gonna start with um I'm gonna start with May December that you already touched on. And I will say that this guy, excuse me, this guy, Charles Melton, he was kind of the breakout star of this. Everybody
Hmm.
was talking about what an amazing job he did. He's pretty new. He's a pretty new actor. I
Hmm.
believe he's a Korean American actor.
Hmm.
Um, very, very good looking.
Oh
Um,
gosh, so handsome.
yeah, very, very handsome. What I did like about the movie is they didn't focus on, the fact that Mary Kay Letourneau was a pedophile, that she served 2 prison sentences, that she was pregnant when she went back to prison the second time with the child, with the second child conceived because of this relationship. Remember, he was the Billy Falau, her the child that she was went to prison for having sex with. He was 12 and she was like 34 when the relationship began. So obviously, I mean, just crazy, right? But then when she got out, he was over 18 and they married and they actually stayed together until she died of cancer, I believe, prostate, or maybe like prostate cancer or something. So she was I can't remember. But anyway, it doesn't focus on that. It focuses on their life 23 years later after all
Right.
that. And they
Right.
have 3 children in the movie, and it's about their lives and what's happening in their lives. So that was very interesting to imagine what would have happened if they had just melted off into obscurity and all of a sudden 25 years later people get a little glimpse of what's happening in their lives. Um so I did like that, but again, I totally agree with you as far as like the music in this movie, like what
It's
the
what
actual
the fuck? Yeah.
yeah. So that
Uh,
movie was kind of in the middle, like meh. There were interesting parts. I will say Natalie Portman did a really, really good job of
mm-hmm.
um of being this kind of like, you know, obviously she's in a career where she's very self-absorbed. She's not really she's doing research, but she's had a very privileged life. She just doesn't really know what these people are going. She did great. There is a scene where she gets involved with this Charles Melton guy sexually, and her
Spoiler
acting,
alert.
yeah, her acting, oh my god, blew my socks off. I was like, man, she is amazing. She's a
Yeah,
really good
she
actor.
was good.
But
Mm-hmm.
anyway, so I'm gonna start with the real out like that's real stinker. And I
Oh.
know that people are going to really not even people are going to freak out when they hear this because the book, this was a Netflix series based on the book All the Light We Cannot See. I watched 1.5 episodes. I have to tell, it stars Mark Ruffalo, Hugh Laurie, among other amazing actors. It's
Mm-hmm.
set in Paris, I believe, or London, around, I think it's Paris, in during World War II, at the end of World War II, when the Nazis were losing and they were stationed in cities and towns across France and different, European countries. And they were, being bombing the crap out of everything. And the Americans were liberating these different
Bombing the
cities.
crap.
And
Bombing the crap out of everything.
it's
I'm
about,
sorry.
yeah, it's about a blind girl who is sending out a radio show where she reads, and the Nazis are looking for her because in her reading on the show she's actually sending code. And it's the book was so amazing, Cheryl.
It
I'm not
sounds really
kidding you.
good.
I read the book like 3 times, and there's a cliffhanger. Remember, and they they hyped this so much because the girl who plays the blind girl, she's not an actress. She's a 15-year-old blind person who, I mean, I'm sure she's very lovely, but I couldn't watch it. I just couldn't watch it. It didn't speak to me, and the book ruined me ever being able to watch it as a show. So,
Yeah.
and that doesn't always happen. So the that was the winning stinker for the holiday 6 season. Okay?
The diarrhea of
Right.
stinkers.
Um so I will also tell you that I watched a holiday film. I love watching holiday movies at the holidays, but I
Around
got to tell
holidays.
you,
Oh, yes,
yeah,
I
it's
know.
so hard to find a good one.
A good one. I
Yeah.
know.
So the one I watched, which I'm
What you
giving the
watch?
rating of meh, was Love at First Sight.
Love
I
at first
watched it
sight.
on Netflix,
Oh,
and
good. Looking
It's
it up.
a guy and a girl who get upgraded to first class on a plane. They kind of have this little like a flight to like London Heathrow where they kind of fall in love. And
Uh,
then, they have to find each other through a large city. And, it's just, I don't know. I just felt like there was a lot of missed opportunity. It had potential, but it wasn't stinker and it wasn't wow. It was kind of meh. So that's where I was with my holiday movies. A little step up from meh was okay, which
uh,
means they were good, but they weren't outstanding.
okay.
And I hate to say this, the first one
Uh-oh.
on the list is Anything, Everything, All at Once, which
Oh
is
yeah.
starring Michelle
Hmm.
Yeoh and was on
I have to.
Amazon Prime. I liked it in parts, but parts were like, get on with the story.
Well, it was an action movie, so they gotta stay in the action. It's
Was.
like having a 5 minute, car chase. Um,
Yeah, there were parts that were great and parts that I was like, I didn't know which end was up,
I
you
have to
know?
totally agree with you that I watched it to the end, although I probably could have stopped halfway through and I would not have been sad to not know how it ended. But I did think the guy that played her husband was really good, and he and Michelle Yeoh both won a cat Oscars. Was
I
it
think they
Oscars or
both
Golden
won
Globes?
Golden Globes and Oscars,
Okay,
which I gotta tell
which
ya, I
you
didn't
don't think
see
it?
a lot of the films that were nominated, and I understand the process of the Academy of Motion Pictures and Sciences, whatever it's called, and I understand what you have to go through to get your film, recognized at those award shows, and it's money and it's endorsements and it's money and it's who's who, blah blah blah. But I'll tell you that, and I'm glad that we're recognizing, I always go back to The Color Purple and how it got stiffed. And it was such a hands down amazing film. Like, just like a real wow. But I don't know. I just, again, it was great. It was different. It was kind of cool at parts, but I didn't really feel like it was that wow. So just, so sue me.
Well, I loved, and I'm so sorry I don't know his name, but the guy that played her husband, I'm sure he hates being referred to as that, like Michelle Yeoh and the guy that played her husband. Um, when he won, well, actually, when I was watching the film, I was like, I really like this guy. And I went to look him up, and he was the kid in Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Short
oh
round.
my God,
His name
he
is Ki Hui Kwan. That's his name.
thank you, because I would have butchered it. And but he looks exactly the same, but as an adult. He's got that cute face, and I actually thought his acting was really good. I think that movie is for people that like video game type movie, style of things. You know what I mean?
I
Like
don't
that's
know, but I will
that's
say
the only
that
way I can.
to us it popped up as science fiction. And while there were some science fiction elements in the movie, and I, surprisingly enough, enjoy science fiction movies and
Mhm.
books sometimes, not always, sometimes. I got to tell you, I felt more like I was on a really bad acid trip watching it. And let me tell you
Yeah.
why. You know that movie Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind and
Yep.
the other like that genre films, like the one
Hmm.
where, remember, John Malkovich is trapped on like the story that's in between the floors, like
Be Yeah, being John
what,
Mal. It's being
that
John
one,
Malkovich.
yeah, John,
Yeah.
being John Malkovich and those genre of films.
Hmm.
um I love that genre of film,
I know.
but I
Yeah, me
and I
too.
felt like they were trying to cram this film into that genre, and it didn't quite make it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's how I felt about Saltburn. It was trying to be a talented. Did you ever see Talented Mr. Ripley?
I did, but it didn't speak to me as the way it spoke to
Oh,
you.
well, I
And I
felt that was
think
trying to
it's
do that.
because I really didn't like or enjoy Jude Law.
Oh,
There
okay.
there, I've said
Is
it.
it because Did he cheat on with his nanny by that point?
No, it
Anyway.
wasn't that. I don't know. Wait, who plays his opposite? Gwyneth Paltrow?
Hmm.
I can't stand her. That's what it
Okay,
was.
well, you didn't like two of the three main actors, so
There you go. I really
surprise,
like
surprise.
I really like Matt Damon. Was he in it?
Yeah, Matt Damon was good. Yes, he played the
Yeah.
lead. She's like, was
Yeah.
he in it? Was Harrison Ford
I
in Indiana Jones?
I don't
Just
remember.
kidding.
I don't remember that film. That's how much it didn't speak to
Oh,
me. But
I've
anyway,
seen it many times.
so guys, I'm gonna head into now my wows, and I have
Oh,
4
wow.
breakaway wows. Yeah. Okay.
Woohoo!
2 are
Yeah, go.
documentaries. 1 is a
Oh, I
feature
love
film,
documentary.
and 1 is a documentary series. The first one I'm going to do is Let Us Pray. There was a play on words. Pray is Prey. It's an HBO Max documentary about the Independent Baptist Fundamentalist religion. It's a 4-part docu-series, and it is unbelievable. It's a ministry of scandals. Basically, it is these women who were um, preyed upon and abused as children by the independent fundamentalist religion, Baptist religion, and what they go through to basically hold these men who are still in positions of power accountable for their actions. And
Ooh.
it was heartbreaking, it was poignant, it was real, and, it was so well done.
Hmm.
So if anybody, wants to watch that, just know that trigger warning, there is a lot of talk about childhood sexual abuse, so it could be very uncomfortable or triggering for somebody who, might have experienced that or it finds that kind of, content triggering. So
Hmm.
my my I'm gonna go
I
over my sorry, what was your comment?
I love a good documentary. I
I
really
do
do.
too. So I'm going to go into my next 2 wows, which were documentaries. The first is American Symphony on Netflix, and it is a 2023 biographical documentary film, and it explores a year in the life of the musician Jean-Baptiste, his musical
Uh-huh.
career, and his wife's struggle with leukemia. And I don't know if you ever watched the Stephen Colbert Show, but for the first, I think 2 or 3 seasons, the Late Show with Stephen Colbert was on air. Jean-Baptiste was the musical director.
Oh,
He is
whoa.
amazing,
The
amazing.
the guy with the wild hair, right?
Yeah. Cheryl, it
Okay.
was so good. And I'm a little bit of a I like to fancy myself a little bit of a music nerd. And so it really spoke to me. He is so musically talented. But not only that, he goes through while his career is growing and blossoming, and he is literally becoming this tour de force. His wife and partner is struggling with debilitating and life-threatening leukemia that she had already battled once in her early 20s. It comes back 10 years later, and it's soul crushing because one side of his life is going through the roof and he's becoming like this amazing person, like talent, and he's being recognized professionally, and his personal life is heading down, down, down. And it's just watching like the way that it's this balance that he has to strike and what's happening in his life. It's just so, I mean, just the yin and yang of life. It's just so like, I don't know,
Mm.
it's dichotomous of all of us and what all of our lives, what we go through in our lives. Because if you think about it, sometimes one aspect of our lives, finances, personal, romance, career, could be taken off, and then something else on another side is dragging us down. And there are so many times in life when there is this yin and yang that's pulling us in different directions, and everybody can identify with that. So anyway, if you have an
Yeah.
hour and a half, sit and watch it. It was so so good.
What's the
So
name of it again?
it's called American
American
Symphony. The
Symphony. I'm
next
writing it
documentary that blew my socks off. And again,
Mm.
I really jumped on the bandwagon and I recommended this one to my husband, and he watched it too from start to finish it, blew his socks off. And it is Beckham, and the documentary is on
Oh, I
Netflix. It's
started
a
that. Uh-huh.
four-part documentary about David Beckham.
Hmm.
And I gotta tell ya, I
You
was
don't have to be
blown
a fan of
away.
his, right? To you don't have to be
You
a fan of his to enjoy it. Okay.
No, you don't, and you don't have to be a soccer fan. That's the other thing.
Okay. That's
And
cool.
you don't have to be a Posh Spice fan, because
Oh
for those
gosh,
of
thank God.
you dum-dums out there listening to this who don't know, David Beckham is married to Victoria Beckham, who is also was Posh Spice in the Spice Girls. And if you made it through the 90s without knowing who the Spice Girls were, you need to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and head over to your nearest internet store, computer store, buy one, and then Google Posh Spice, because I actually had someone say, "Who is Posh Spice?" And I was just like, I almost,
Oh,
it took all of my self control to not smack him upside the head, because I was like,
well, how old were they?
yeah, where the hell were you? What do you mean, who's Posh Spice? Good God. Anyway, it was really, really, really well done. And wow. I mean, and also, I didn't know anything. I can tell you, I knew zero about David Beckham's rise to stardom as a footballer slash, Americans are going to say soccer player, but footballer, and how he became the David Beckham. The first introduction I had to David Beckham was the film Bend It Like Beckham,
Oh
starring
yeah, me too. I
starring Keira
love that
Knightley.
movie.
Yeah.
Yes, if that is a
So,
great film, you guys. If you haven't seen
yeah.
it, Bend It Like Beckham is so good.
Yeah. So I can tell you that I learned so much about, Manchester United. And I think I talked about last year in an episode how we watched Ted Lasso all 3 seasons and loved it. And I learned so much about these British football teams from that show. And then this, I felt like I came into this documentary with at least a working knowledge, and was so pleased to learn so much more about, British footballers and the different football clubs, and, just how he grew up in this club, and was such a huge, huge rising talent, and still is a huge talent. He basically built this Miami football team and made it what it is today, and recruited these amazing, South American footballers to come over and play, and also the LA Galaxy. I mean, so it's like I just learned so much. Far and away the best film that I watched, and we all sat down and watched
Mhm.
it together as a family, was the Barbie movie on Amazon Prime, starring Margot Robbie
Mhm.
and Ryan Gosling and America Ferrera. And I have to tell you that it blew my socks off, because I didn't expect that a film about frickin'
I know,
Barbie
right?
dolls was going to be the winner. But it
Yep.
was directed by Greta Gerwig, and the screenplay was written by herself, Greta Gerwig, and her partner Noah Baumbach. And it is so good. It follows the pair, Ken and Barbie, on a journey of self-discovery through Barbie Land and the real world, following an existential crisis. And the supporting cast is America Ferrera, Michael Cera from Arrested Development, Kate McKinnon, Issa Rae, Rhea Perlman, and Will Ferrell. And I have to tell you, Cheryl, if you haven't seen it, you have to give it a chance.
No, I've
It's
seen
so
it.
good. Oh, you
It's so
have?
good. And yes, and when it first came out, my sister and her daughter, um, I know I can call her my niece, but I have like 1,000 nieces, so I'm going to be very specific and say my sister and my daughter, her daughter. We all kind of rolled our eyes like, "Oh my God, this is going to be so ridiculous." And then I actually watched the trailer, and my sister-in-law, one of Kevin's sisters, said it was good, and then I've heard from other adults that it was good, and I thought, so yeah, I gave it a shot, and it is very good. It's very
It was
good,
great.
very
And I
entertaining.
yeah. And we sat and watched it as a family, and my niece and nephew were here, and I gotta tell ya, it just was so good. I mean, yeah, it was great. And I gotta say that Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling, man, they hit home runs with this one.
Hmm. I'm
They
not a
really
big fan of hers. I don't have not really seen, but I thought she was excellent, and have always loved Ryan Gosling.
I love
Yeah,
that her when her feet go flat.
and
I
she gets so
love that. I remember as a kid always wondering why Barbie could only wear high heels.
it's so awesome. It really is. It's very cute. It's very it's eye candy because it's just so colorful and
Mhm.
kitschy. Yeah, it was a surprise for me too. Yep.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was so, so good. I really, really,
Mhm.
really enjoyed it. Now, I have to say, I have to put out 2 honorable mentions, okay? The
Okay.
first honorable mention, and I'm just saying, aside from period piece films, I do not watch movies over and over. Sorry, aside from musicals and period piece films, I don't watch shows or movies over and over, with the exception of The Office, not the original, but the one with John Krasinski, um, and,
Steve
you know,
Carell.
and Steve Carell. Uh, I watch I don't like to repeat watch stuff, like I said, musicals and period pieces, and that's
Mhm.
because I am weird. Um, but I have to throw out an honorable mention for Smartless on the Road on HBO
Yes,
Max.
you guys. Oh my God.
It's
Uh,
only 6 seasons, 6 episodes, I
sad,
mean,
sadly, because I wanted to watch
and
more.
I am sad that I didn't discover this podcast until after the pandemic was over, because they were in DC, and if I'd known that, I would have got tickets and driven up to DC
Uh,
and gone to see them live. I had to tell you that these 3 guys, I mean, it's great. They film it in black and white, and they capture just the essence of these 3 guys and what their interactions are like and what their humor is like real time, and just how quick and sharp and witty they are, and the relationship between 3 men. We see a lot of stuff on TV about female relationships, but this is something different. So if you enjoy the podcast Smartless, or if you enjoy documentary style reality television shows, check it out. It's called Smartless on the Road. And
yeah,
now
it's so
Cheryl
good.
will go into her obsession with Jason Bateman.
Well, I just want to say that the Smartless on the Road, I wanted it to never end because you feel like you're there with them. Like I've said this to you. I want to be in the room with them. I won't even have to interact. The proverbial I can't talk, proverbial fly on the wall. I just want to be around them, the way they interact with each other and the way they rib each other, but they love each
Just
other. It
make
was
a dress.
fantastic.
You just want to make a dress out of Jason Bateman's skin and wear it.
I cannot argue with that. So yeah, so I watched all those god dang stinkers, right? And I was like, I need to get my Jason Bateman on. So I watched the entire 4 seasons of Ozark, of which I've already watched, I think twice, all 4 seasons. It's so good, and you've never seen it, but and I'm bringing up old stuff, you guys. I realize that, but Ozark is so good. I will say the last season, the fourth one, I was kind of disconnected to it because all the great characters, um, all the good supporting characters were kind of gone by them. Spoiler alert. But that Julia Garner who plays Ruth. Oh my God, she's so excellent. But anyway, I watched Ozark all four seasons again, and then I watched this movie called The Change Up. It's a comedy that's kind of in the style of Freaky Friday, where the film stars Ryan Reynolds and Jason Bateman, and they switch bodies after urinating into the fountain to wish they had each other's lives. And I've seen that movie probably 5 to 10 times because I just, you got to love the two of them, Ryan Reynolds and Jason Bateman, but I absolutely love them. So I enjoyed watching that again. I was so disappointed with the first five movies that I mentioned. And there were probably other ones that were just like such disappointments that I wanted to go back to sure things. So I went through this whole Jason Bateman phase. If you guys have not seen the movie The Gift, it's a 2015 psychological thriller written, co-produced, and directed by Joel Edgerton. Now, Joel Edgerton has been around for a while. I know this because I've seen him. It's one of those guys where you'll recognize his face, and if you saw him in person, you'd go, "Okay, that's a celebrity," but probably won't know his name. Sorry, Joel. But ever since this movie, The Gift, I took notice of him because he was so good. And then to find out this was his directorial debut, and he wrote it. And it's co-produced by Jason Blum, who does all those Hulu like horror movies. So of course I know him. And it stars Jason Bateman and Rebecca Hall. I don't know if you know Rebecca Hall. She's a great actress. And it's about a couple intimidated by a figure from Jason Bateman's past, played by Edgerton himself. It's so good. You could handle it. It's not spooky, scary. It's not a slasher film. It's very intense, and performances are so good. So I highly recommend that. And I had Smartless on there, and you already mentioned it. And then I went back because I have not actually seen it, and I'm ashamed to say because I'm such a huge Jason Bateman fan. I went back and watched. I started it. I didn't get through the first season, and I'm still on the first season, but Arrested Development, it's just a highly underrated show.
Oh,
Although
it's so good.
it was critically acclaimed, but it just didn't do well with the audiences. And then after they stopped filming, it became like this cult classic.
Right.
So
I feel like there's so many movies or shows that hit that status. Like they'll be
mhm.
made, no one will watch them, they won't get any notoriety, and then they turn into cult classics because they'll get picked up and all of a sudden people will be like, you have to. I feel like Schitt's Creek was kind of like that.
I was just going to say that about Schitt's Creek. I think it didn't have an audience until it came out on Netflix. So I think like when it was on network TV, it didn't do well. And then for some reason, you know what I think I heard is that when people could binge watch it, that's when it became popular. And I know for myself, I love to binge watch things, but yeah. So shout out to Arrested Development and Schitt's Creek.
Yep. Well, Cheryl, we covered a lot of ground today and a
Hmm.
lot of movies and a lot of TV shows for all you couch potatoes out there. Definitely, definitely don't run out there because you don't have to go anywhere. You can just sit on your sofa or lay in your bed or fall on the ground and literally watch any of these from the comfort of those three places. And so you have a lot of things that you can watch, and you got two pretty hip and amazing people giving you their recommendations and their takes on all the latest shows and movies. Um, but even though we didn't talk about murder today, you know what is a crime?
What's that, Joy?
That we are out of time.
Oh, we are. That's a crime. Well, thank you for listening, everyone, and don't complicate your day. All creativity, commentary, and opinions in this podcast belong to Cheryl and Joy. Music composed and mixed by Gabe McKeon. Logo and merch created and managed by Kevin Callan. Podcast editing and advertising by Joy McKeon. Legal representation provided by John Bojezek. Please like, subscribe, follow, and listen. You can listen to us on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. And remember, you can find us on Instagram and YouTube, and you can email us at murderandeverythingelse@gmail.com.
Bye, fishes.